ஆரம்பிக்கலாமா?
शुभ संध्या। श्रद्धां वा लभते ज्ञानं तत्परः सयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति। संस्कृतवाणी कार्यक्रमस्य सर्वेषां हार्दिकं स्वागतम्। ईश्वर प्रार्थयन् तस्य समर्पणं भवति। ईश्वरं प्रार्थयन् परमेश्वरं प्राप्तुं सहायं करोति। कुमारी श्वेता प्रार्थना गीत गाएंगे। कुमारी श्वेता, disciple of Srimati Uma Ravichandran and Srimati Ratipriya, had participated in many music competitions and won prizes. Performed in Shankara TV, pursuing BCom at Shastra University. Swagatam Shweta.
Namaskaram. Mooladharamurti, Mooladharamurti, Gajamukane Sharanamuna Mubaya Sharanamooladharamurti, Gajamukane Sharanamuna Mubaya Sharanamooladharamurti, Gajamukane Sharanamuna Mubaya Sharanamooladharamurti, Gajamukane Sharanamuna Mubaya Sharanamooladharamurti, Gajamukane Velayuda, Velayuda, Mugantanaka Mungondriya, Velayuda, Mugantanaka Mungondriya, Velayuda, Mugantanaka Mungondriya, Himala, Umaya Parumagane Amala, Vimala, Umaya Parumagane Amala, Yamaya Niva Torumooladharamurti, Gajamukane Sharanamuna Mubaya Sharanamooladharamurti, Gajamukane Angudan Tumbayadagam Gulay Yajata Akadani Sidagum Kodum, Angudan Tumbayadagam Gulay Yajata Akadani Sidagum Kodum, Kulagil Tumbam Tudete Tumbam Tudete Perimbam Tarum Marada, Tumbam Tudete Perimbam Tarum Marada, Tunipuri Puri Pranavakara Ganapati, Puri Pranavakara Ganapati, Mooladharamurti, Gajamukane Sharanamuna Mubaya Sharanamooladharamurti, Gajamukane
Shweta, that was a fantastic rendition, ma. Singing beautiful as always. We are all a great fan of you, Shweta. Last program, we told your mother also the same. Dhanyavadaha kanna adbhuta gayanam. Thank you so much, ma. Subhashitamaha naitika paramartham dadati. A great war veteran and disciple of Swami Omkarananda, Shri Ramakrishna Mahodaya, will be presenting Subhashitam. Swagatam Mahodaya.
Namaste. Today's Subhashitam is about unity. Aikyam balam samajasya tadbhave sadurbalaha tasmat aikyam prasamsanti dridam rashtram hitaikshinaha. Once again. Aikyam balam samajasya tadbhave sadurbalaha tasmat aikyam prasamsanti dridam rashtram hitaikshinaha. The unity lies in strength. This also equally applies to weak people also. Without unity, we cannot overcome anything, including external aggression. The great example of this unity, weakness in unity or disunity is our own country, which has been ruled over 1,000 years by Britishers and Muslims. Now, to enlighten this story, this is also why this Dridam Rashtram Hitaikshinaha. Any country which has to be stronger and united, that well-being lies only in the unity. This is all what every well-wishers of the country would like to impress upon. So we have to stand united. To support this, a small story of a villager, a butcher's family. The butcher was living in a village with his wife. He had a good garden where there were 4 creatures, a rat, a pigeon, a rooster, and a goat. One day, there were a lot of grass and other grains in the garden. So they were all very happy because they were all very well without making any difficulty or without working hard. They were getting food so easily. They were not in unison with each other. They did not cooperate with each other. They were not friendly with each other. So one day what happened? Butcher's wife complained to his husband that the rat menace has increased. Then Butcher said, "Don't worry, tonight I will set a trap to catch that rat." Immediately hearing this, because all other creatures, the rooster or the pigeon or the goat, they live on the land, whereas the rat lives in the holes underneath the earth. So it was afraid how to know when he has set the trap, where he has set the trap. Therefore, it approached the pigeon and requested him to give the information so that he will not be trapped there. He said, "I am a bird. I am not worried about yourself. You take care of yourself." Then it approached the rooster. Rooster said, "See, I am a timekeeper. Nobody will harm me. Why should I bother about you?" Then it went to the goat and requested goat. The goat just laughed at him and said, "It is not my responsibility. To take care of yourself, it is only your responsibility." Therefore, it was not knowing what to do. Then suddenly what happened that night? There was a loud noise with a spring and metal. So the wife of the butcher thought, "Oh, I have caught the rat today. Okay, I will kill it." Then without putting the switch on, straight away thinking that it may run away, she put the hand on that rat trap. Alas, a snake was there, a poisonous snake. It bit her very deeply. She was crying. Then butcher immediately took her to the village doctor. He said, "Okay, I am giving you this powder. You do one thing. You make pigeon soup, mix this medicine in the pigeon soup and give her." So he did so, and she recovered very nicely. Hearing this news, her parents came from the nearby village. They were very happy. To celebrate that happiness, they cut the rooster and food was made. Then what happened? Her parents spread the news to entire villagers, and all the villagers one by one they said, "I am coming, I am coming. I want to congratulate her." So all they told, "Okay, let us meet on a Sunday." On that Sunday, all the relatives and villagers friends came. So there, since there were a large number, the butcher cut that uh, goat. So he made a feast for all of them. So what this implies is that when a poor person, a weaker person approaches you, never say no. You have to help him out. If you don't help out, down we fall. United we stand, down we fall. So because they did not cooperate with each other, they have to meet with all the disaster. So let us be united to save the country and to save our prestige. Thank you.
Dhanyavadaha Mahodaya. Much needed for that, what you had told. This exactly, shows the present situation. We are all like this only, but of course we have to be united. Thank you so much, Mahodaya. As usual, it was a wonderful message to all of us. Dhanyavadaha. स्वागतम संबोधनम प्रस्तुत करेंगे श्रीमती विसाली कृष्णन. सनातन धर्मस्य रक्षणार्थम अस्माकं समाजस्य सेवां कुर्वन् अस्ति. स्वागतम विसाली.
सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः. अद्यतनं संस्कृतवाणी कार्यक्रमे सर्वेभ्यः स्वागतम्. अद्यतनं श्रीमती मातंगी महोदय सञ्चाली रूपेण अस्ति. स्वागतं माता. कुमारी श्वेता अपि स्वागतम् अस्मि, या तदीये सम्मोहन स्वरे प्रार्थना गीतं गीतवती. स्वागतं श्री रामकृष्ण महोदय, या सुभाषितम् इत्यस्य माध्यमेन अस्मान् सुन्दरं सन्देशम् अददात्. श्रीमान् सुश्रुत महोदयस्य स्वागतं, यः प्रतिमासं भगवद्गीतायाः सुन्दरव्याख्यानं करोति. श्लोका प्राप्तं कुमारी स्वेता स्वागतं. स्वागतं श्री अभिनव किडम्बी महोदय, यः नरसिंह पुराणं कथयितुं गच्छति. अस्माकं विशेष अतिथि श्रीमती महालक्ष्मी भगिनी, हार्दिक स्वागतं. धन्यवाद मतदानार्थं श्रीमती गीता मुत्तुस्वामी महोदय स्वागतं. शांति मंत्राय स्वागतं श्री शिवकुमार महोदय. अद्यतनं कार्यक्रमे पुनः सर्वेषां स्वागतं करोमि.
धन्यवादः विसारी. That was a wonderful welcome address. Thank you so much. Bhagavad Gita asman dharmanusaranam kartum shikshayati. Dr. Sushrutha will be presenting Bhagavad Gita life lessons today. Assistant Professor at Amrita University, has done PhD in Yoga and Yajna. Swagatam Mahodaya.
ఒక నిమిషం.
प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्. नमः सर्वेभ्यः पुनरपि स्वागतम्. These four streams of yoga which are very popular in the field of yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Raja Yoga. Initial adhyayas of Bhagavad Gita are dedicated for karma, then bhakti, and final 6 chapters are completely dedicated to jnana, is what is the narration and interpretation by majority of the scholars. And aptly there are many indicators to support this very idea why in between 6 chapters from 7th to 12th chapter are connected heavily on bhakti. In the transition of these two yogas, karma and bhakti, few shlokas we saw in the previous discussion. Bhagavan says, Mayasakta manah partha yogam yunjan madashrayah asamshayam samagram mam yathajnasyasi tachruno. Listen to me, what is my tattva, true quintessential existence, reality of me. And then he goes on, there are a few who try to understand me, and then he goes to third shloka, manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatataamapi siddhanam kaschin mam vetti tatvatah. Those are the rarest of living beings in the form of human beings who try understanding me with the reality, and of them only completely very few who understand me. And then Shrotaram prarochanena abhimukhi aha. Audience, he draws attention of the audience towards himself and follows the very thought. Bhumihi apaha analaha vayuhu kham manaha buddhirevacha ahankaraha iti iyam bhinna prakritirashtadha. See, it's very important what he says. I have to be known by every human being that is born in this earth. But what is my tattva that everybody is excited and admiring at? He says, Bhumihi apaha analaha vayuhu kham manaha buddhirevacha ahankaraha iti iyam me bhinna prakritihi ashtadha. Ashtadha prakritihi bhinna. Kena prakarena iti chet bhumihi apaha analaha vayuhu kham manaha buddhihi ahankaraha iti ashta vividhaha ashta prakaraha iyam prakritihi ashta prakarika iyam prakritihi. Just to list out 5 elements, basic fundamental elements, we call it as Panchamahabhuta. Panchamahabhuta. Bhumihi apaha analaha vayuhu kham manaha buddhihi ahankaraha. Then mana, buddhi and ahankara, these 3 added to 5 basic elements become very fundamental 8 bhinna prakritihi ashtadha. And then Ashta Prakriti, this is what is Ashta Prakriti, which is very popular in Sankhya, and in Sankhya actually we have 24 tattvas. Of them, these 3, Buddhi, Ahankara and Manaha, and then 5. Keeping all these separate, these are called Ashta Prakriti. And then he goes, Maya Shaktihi Ashtadha Bhinna Bhedam Agata. Then apart from this, beyond this, apara iyam itaha tu anyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. There is yet another prakriti beyond this ashtadha prakriti. 5 elements, mana, buddhi and ahankara, 8 elements together is one set, which is called apara prakriti. Apara itaha anyam prakritim vidhi me param. Sa param prakritihi ya itaha अर्थात एतस्याः अष्टप्रकृतेः, one who is different from Ashtadha Prakriti is what is Para Prakriti. So now in the previous shloka, that is fourth shloka, he mentions what is Apara Prakriti, and now in the fifth shloka he says what is Para Prakriti. So here Para Prakriti is Jiva Bhutam Mahabaho Yayedam Dharyate Jagate. This Jagat is moving ahead towards its aim, destination, that is to getting mukti, but all of these are held. The entire Jagat is held by Para Prakriti, and she is in the form of Jiva Bhuta. She is Jiva also, not just something what is existence outside Pancha Mahabhutas, but Mana, Buddhi and Ahankara, all put together it becomes only 8. But here that too is Apara Prakriti. So Para and Apara are the two stages of an entity, upper and lower. So always Parabrahma we say. Para is supreme, and Para Bhakti we say, supreme Bhakti. Similarly, Para Vairagya, the supreme Vairagya. And then we have Apara meaning lower than that, it is never the lowest. So we need to understand Para is supreme and superior than everything, and Apara is just little lower than that, it is not the supreme. So here Prakriti is also divided into two. One is Apara Prakriti and Para Prakriti. So this Para Prakriti is said here as Jiva Bhuta. She is existing in the world with all the individuals by forming individuality. That itself is Jiva. And एतद्योनीनि भूतानि सर्वाणि इति उपधारय अहं कृत्स्नस्य जगतः प्रभवः प्रलयः तथा. एतद्योनीनि भूतानि सर्वाणि इति उपधारय. Understand this very fact that the entire universe is nothing but an expansion, a detailing of Ashtadha Prakriti and Para Prakriti. And Aham Kritsnasya Jagataha Prabhavaha Pralayaha. I am the origin and I am the destination. There is nothing beyond the very Prakriti. Finally, that Prakriti also belongs to me. I am Ishvara of that Ishwari. Prakriti is Ishwari and I am Ishvara of Ishwari. Meaning, everything is in fact just an expansion and elaboration of oneself. And this is what we also observe in Upanishads. Tat srishtva tadevanupravishyat tadanupravishya satchatyacha bhavat. Tat srishtva tadevanupravishyat. After creating something, it entered. Meaning, it is there. After it is getting created, the Brahma himself, Brahma itself enters its own creation. So here, why Prakriti and Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti and something else that is being claimed? Because this is what the diversity we all observe. If someone comes, oh, the entire universe is only one Brahma, if somebody claims like that, to the minds of common human being, it becomes too abstract. You cannot comprehend the depth and reality of the entity. Therefore, it needs to be stepped down to the level of common public understanding. It's not, I'm not saying common public as such, but someone who is at very initial stages may not appreciate the too abstract from the common perspective. Therefore, Krishna tries bringing it down to the tangible level, what you can measure, what is sensible level. So all the Shastras have different ways, different levels of presentation, And now here in the 7th chapter, he is trying to address the content by saying there are two types of Prakriti. One is Para Prakriti, then the other one is Apara Prakriti. Apara Prakriti has 8 components, 5 elements, Ahankara, Manas and Buddhi, and then Para Prakriti is existing in all the individuals. In fact, all these Para and Apara both are existing in all the individuals, but their external and internal existence, that is what is claimed. What is external? Meaning that is owned by Ishwari. Ishwari is of 2, Para and Apara. Prakriti only is called Ishwari, and Ishwara of the Ishwari. Okay, Mattaha Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya Mayi Sarvamidam Protam Sutre Maniganaya. Beautiful analogy. As the beads are connected by a single thread, all the threads in the mala, Japa mala, we have all the Rudrakshas connected with one thread. So the moment you remove that thread, it is all independent. But all the threads are connected with that single thread. All the beads, all the Rudrakshas, all the individuals are connected with that one single entity. In that analogy, the thread Sutre Manigana iva Yatha Maniganaha Maninam Ganaha. The set of Mani, pearls, Yatha Maninam Ganaha Sutre Protam. Protam is ensued. They are in stitching. We call, there is some specific word, swap and wrap. There is some technical term. So the way these two threads are intertwined each other, so this very process happens in every cloth. So that way, Sarvamidam, everything that I said earlier, Ashtadha Prakriti, which is Apara Prakriti, and Para Prakriti, Mattaha Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya, there is nothing beyond me. Mayi Sarvamidam Protam, in me, everything is intertwined. Rasaha Aham Apsu Kaunteya Prabha Asmi Shashi Suryayoho. So hereafter the shlokas continue to narrate how one that essential quality holds that very material. For example, if I say we are all the human beings, how and why are we called human beings? Because we have something called humanity. Anyone who doesn't have humanity is no more called as human being. Correct? Similarly, all the materials in this world consider different groups. For example, I am, Krishna says, I am rasa, that the taste in rasoha mapsu kaunteya, I am rasa, I am the taste, I am the essence of the water itself. Rasoha mapsu kaunteya, prabha asmi shashi surya. Shashi and Surya. Shashi is Chandra, Surya is the sun. For these two, I am the light. Assume sun having no light. Assume moon having no moonlight. So basically, the light is none other than this very Brahma itself. Brahma exists as an essential, invariable and unavoidable quality, or its very nature of that entity. And Pranavaha Sarva Vedeshu, I am Pranava, I am Omkara. Amongst all the Vedas, Shabdaha Ke Paurusham Nrushu, I am the sound in the space. I am Paurusha. Paurusha is a Jiva, in fact, Nrushu. Amongst all the human beings, the Jiva itself is what is Paurusha. Paurusham Nrushu. Punyaha gandhaha prithivyancha. I am the fragrance in all the Prithivi. In fact, fragrance is a special feature of earth element. So, Punyaha gandhaha prithivyancha. I am the fragrance of the Prithivi amongst all the Prithivi. Tejas chasmi vibhavasau. And Jivanam sarvabhuteshu. I am the very Jiva itself. And tapaschasmi tapasvishu. I am the tapas. I am the original quality to perform that tapas amongst all the tapasvis. This is what one after the other, in fact, Brahma is trying to provide list of objects that you can focus the manas and elevate, uplift the wavering mind here and there, getting distracted for smaller things. In fact, whenever mind gets engaged with many things, multiple things. In fact, it thinks about the academics, it thinks about financial things, it thinks about friends and the family members, it thinks about how, there is nothing in the world that mind doesn't allow itself to be engaged with. But what if I have a set of objects to focus on, assuming all the essential qualities existing in that category? Okay, so in the 7th chapter and 11th and 10th and 11th, these are the 3 chapters where Krishna tries to provide baskets and categorization, groups. I am, Ashwatthah sarvavrikshanam. I am Ashwatha Vriksha amongst all the Vrikshas. I am Shashi amongst all the Nakshatras. Okay, I am the moon, which stands as a central, and all the stars seem to be decoration for that moon. Therefore, something what is very unique of that category and on what you may have to focus and meditate. This is what the initial stages of bhakti that Krishna is trying to convey in the 7th chapter. And interesting shlokas are yet to come further in this series of Bhagavad Gita, that too second segment of Bhagavad Gita, which is called Bhakti Yoga. So with this, I thank all the organizers. Namaste.
Sushrutha ji, we understand the essence of this chapter is Jnana Vijnana Yoga. Pure bhakti definitely makes us surrender to the God. And what I understand is that the lessons which you're constantly saying, says that Krishna is offering wisdom to us, and it helps us to lead a good life. The purpose of life we are able to realize and understand. That is what I had understood so far from the chapter 7 as what you had told. And thank you so much. As you said, மணியை வந்து ஸ்ட்ரிங்லையும் த்ரெட்லையும் அழகா கோக்கறதுங்கிறது, நீங்க ஒவ்வொரு சம்ஸ்கிருத வாணிலையும் கொடுக்குற நல்ல நல்ல விஷயங்கள், நல்ல நல்ல லெசன்ஸ் அப்படிதான் இருக்கு. அழகழகா ஒவ்வொன்னா நீங்க கோத்து எங்களுக்கு கொடுத்துட்டு இருக்கீங்க சுஷ்ருதா ஜி. தன்யவாதः. தேங்க்யூ சோ மச். Shri Abhinav Kidambi Narasimha Puranasya Vishaye Vakshayati. Mahodaya is mastered in M.Tech Medical Nanotechnology, had completed MA Sanskrit, currently pursuing PhD. Mahodaya teaches Sanskrit, Yoga Shastra, Indian philosophy, Indian culture and heritage, practitioner of Yoga Shastra. Swagatam Abhinavji, we missed you last time. So happy to see you. A warm welcome to you.
Okay. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Before I start today's session, I would like to briefly mention about the highlight of what happened last week, why I could not attend last month, that is. So last month around this time, I was traveling And recently, during my travels, I would like to share with all the audience and the organizers that I had the good opportunity to be an observer for the Shastra Pariksha and Shastra Sabha at Tenali, which is in the district of Guntur in Andhra Pradesh. So the Shastra Sabha and the Shastra Parikshas are regularly happening for over 30 years now, and being organized by the efforts, due to the efforts of Shri Anjaneyula Sharma Garu, who has been constantly trying to uphold the entire tradition of Shastra Pariksha, in the sense, when we talk about Shastras, we just generally assume that we have to go get a certification from some institute of higher education, or we need to get some certification from some small institution. We have forgotten the concept of Grahana and Dharana, and also Vichara. So Grahana meaning trying to memorize, or rather trying to capture whatever the teacher is saying during the Gurumukha Adhyayanam. And Dharana meaning remembering whatever the teacher has said. And Vichara meaning constantly dwelling on what has been told by the teacher. So the Guru Shishya Parampara, which exists for Veda Dhyayana, also exists for Shastra Dhyayana. Many of us have forgotten this tradition. And during my time at the Tenali Shastra Pariksha as an observer, I noticed how over the past 3 decades, they have been slowly nurturing so many different Shastra Panditas across the country. Today, there are about half a dozen great Shastra Panditas who are looked up to by so many Vidyarthis in Shastra. And almost all of them have some connection with the Shastra Pariksha at Tenali. So this was a very great revelation for me. So, of course, I could not understand most of what the Shastra Sabha was about and what the Shastra Pariksha was, because many of these Shastra Granthas I myself have not studied because they are of an advanced level. And I myself have only studied some basics. Compared to them, I will never call myself a Vidwan or a Pandita because I know my worth now. So I have been thoroughly humbled. So nowadays, I feel more embarrassed when people introduce me in any general assembly. But for the sake of our interaction here, I accept what all of you have shared. So in the context of this Shastra Pariksha, if you are interested in studying Shastra more deeply, the following Shastras are available for study and examinations there. Vyakarana, Nyaya, Purvamimamsa, Advaita Vedanta, and of course the standard Veda and also Veda Bhashya. So if any of you is interested in studying, or if you want your family members to study, please do contact them. If you do a Google search, you will come across their details. In fact, I think Indic Academy has also been funding them. I think the Shringeri Sharada Peetham has been sending their students regularly. The Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham also sends their students. And I think from recently, the Uttaradi Matha, the Madhva Matha has also been sending their students there. So if you are interested, please do reach out to your respective Matha or some Acharya who you know, and they will put you in touch with the organizers of the Shastra Pariksha and the Shastra Sabha. And if you can study, it would be a great thing. The Shastra Rakshana and Poshana has to be done through Adhyayana and Adhyapana, through the Guru Shishya Parampara, and not by merely publishing books and getting degree certificates in that specific subject alone. I'm not against these certifications. I'm only saying certification has to be only at the superficial level, just for the sake of society. But if you're really interested in fulfilling the debt of the Rishi Rana, then you have to do the Shastra Adhyayana in this form. So I hope I have inspired you a little bit. With that inspiration, let us move into the Narasimha Purana for today. Before we enter into Narasimha Purana, I must give you one kind of warning. I mean, you might be thinking why I'm giving a warning, because the first adhyaya we'll be looking at is slightly complicated when it comes to uh, talking about it in the general public. That is the Yama Yami Samvada. In the Yama Yami Samvada, that adhyaya, there Yama and Yami are both children of Surya Deva, and both of them, they are considered to be twins. So Yami apparently is beautiful. Yama is also very handsome. Because they are children of Surya Deva, obviously they will be very beautiful. Yami apparently declares openly her desire to be the wife of Yama, who is her own brother. Yama rejects, saying that that is not how things are. Only animals in the forest are behaving like that. Humans do not do it. The society does not accept it. And then Yami cites the cohabitation in the womb, that is inside the Garbha. Yama and Yami were both twins. They were delivered at the same time. So those 9 months during the incubation time inside the womb in the Garbha, they were together, right? So this is one argument she brings in. So she is actually trying to engage in a vada. So there is a nyaya-based interaction here. And then she cites the Rakshasa known as Nirriti and says he actually cohabits with his own sister. Apparently, that is being mentioned by Yami as a pramana to say that Yama can also marry Yami. Yama again rejects. And again, Yami pleads. Yama then rejects again. And in fact, he actually cites in the Narasimha Purana, here you notice that the person whoever is considered to be the author brings in the shloka from the Bhagavad Gita to say, I mean, we really do not know whether it was sourced from the Bhagavad Gita or this is where the source for that shloka in the Bhagavad Gita was. So there is one shloka where it talks about how people of respectable nature are the ones who are being followed by the society. Whatever they do, the society repeats. So that specific shloka is repeated here. And Yama says this, and then because of his strong conviction, saying that this is not how things are to be, he therefore becomes a devata after that. And because of his firm resolve, he is known for it, it seems. The chapter does not elaborate on this further. Perhaps it is a reference to the society where such kinds of romantic relationships are also secretly practiced without anyone knowing about it. Even today in mainstream society, we notice how illicit relationships are becoming more and more openly acceptable by certain sections of the society. Perhaps because of the fact that Itihasa and Purana are meant for going to the common man and affecting them directly, perhaps this was a means to tell them about ethics and morality. So they are teaching Dharma Shastra through these Itihasa and Purana. Then the 13th chapter goes on, it talks about Pativrata Shakti. Pativratya is being referred to here. Kashyapa is supposed to be a devout Brahmana and a Narasimha Bhakta. And Savitri is his wife. And she has this clairvoyance. That is, whatever is happening in Paroksha, whatever she is able to see things from a distance, in space and in time. She is able to predict things. And apparently they lived in Nandigrama in Madhya Pradesh. So Madhya Desha is being mentioned in the Purana itself. And then there is someone known as Deva Sharma who has been properly done samskaras. So he's all the samskaras that are supposed to be done are done up until Upanayana. So from the moment Jata Karma up until Upanayana Samskara, all that was done. But his father passes away when he finishes the Vedadhyena. Apparently, he studied one Veda. After his Adhyena was completed, his father passed away. So in that process, he is now going to Ganga, then he's going to Gaya or somewhere. He's going and doing the Shraddha Karma and all that he's doing. And he's doing some karmas and he's traveling across the place and now he reaches Nandigrama. Apparently, he becomes very famous there for being a very ideal brahmachari, but his mother, Rohini by name, is very sad that he is not taking up grihastha. So while he is traveling, he notices that he's actually doing dhyana at some place, and he notices that a crow and a crane take his clothes and fly away when he has finished having his snana and is doing some dhyana. So at that point of time, he immediately cursed them or something, and immediately they were burnt. And the moment he sees this, he's amazed at his tapashakti, and he goes for bhiksha. And when he's going for bhiksha, he notices that the Savitri, who is a very devout dharmapatni, she is not immediately coming out to give bhiksha. So she is doing pati shushrusha, she is doing pati seva, and she is doing pati shushrusha. And at that point of time, he's trying to become angry. He's showing his redness of eyes. And the moment he looks at her angrily, she immediately comes out and says, I am not the crane or crow to be burnt. So if you have already studied a little bit of Itihasa and Purana, you know that something similar happens in the Katha of Dharma Vyadha. So if you are aware of this name of a person, Dharma Vyadha Katha, very similar Katha is happening here. But here there is something different. So the moment she says that she is not a crane or a crow to be burnt by his angry glances, he immediately waits for her to come outside. And then when she is giving bhiksha, he asks her, how do you, oh mother, please tell me how you know this. You are seemingly someone who is greater than me in your tapashakti. She says, only because of my pati shushrusha, I am able to have this siddhi of paroksha jnana drishti. And she says that your mother Rohini is most important. After your father passed away, you have not taken care of her. You should go back and take care of her. I can see the future. Once you go back, there is someone known as Yajna Sharma, whose daughter will be offered to you in marriage. You have to get married to her, then engage in Varna Dharma, and then you also have to practice Ashrama Dharma. Go back, become a Grihastha-ashrami, and then carry on your activities. She also says that after your wife passes away, you should also become a sannyasi, because now you are going into the third ashrama. Second ashrama is Grihastha ashrama, third ashrama is sannyasi. Then this goes on to the 14th chapter. I'll just finish with the 14th chapter because the 15th chapter can be a little complicated, needs more time. The 14th chapter, we see that now they are talking about a widower. Earlier we saw brahmachari before Grihastha-ashrama, and we also saw in this chapter, 13th chapter, what to do during the Grihastha-ashrama period. That is, the husband has to take care of all activities. Wife also should also take care of all activities. Brahmachari should take care of his responsibilities, move into Grihastha-ashrama. What about those people who have to go beyond Grihastha-ashrama when they are widowers or widows? What should they do? So there we see there is a widower Brahmana who is traveling everywhere without following ashrama dharma. So apparently his wife passes away. Now because of his sadness, he is not doing all the Nitya Karma Anushtana and he is traveling everywhere. He goes to the Ganga, he goes to the Himalaya, then he goes to Vindhya, he is doing the Dhyana, he is doing the Puja, all that he is doing. Apparently when he is sleeping, once Narasimha Swami is so pleased with his puja, but he says to him, that he has to take up ashrama dharma, because if he does not take up ashrama dharma, then whatever he is doing will be useless. So that is when he takes up sannyasa officially and he constantly meditates on Narasimha Swami. So what are they trying to show in these three chapters is that the first chapter we saw Yama Yami Samvada, where there is this concept of what is an ideal relationship. So should you engage in illicit relationship with people who you are not supposed to engage in? Then the chapter which we discussed here is about the Grihastha Dharma. So you have to take care of each other. That is very important. As a husband and wife, you are a team. And of course, the husband's work is not mentioned explicitly, but we have to infer it that both of them have to take care of each other. And the next one there within the same chapter, Brahmachari. You are a brahmachari, okay, but you also have to take care of other responsibilities. Your mother is there, so you have to enter Grihastha-ashrama. That is mentioned there. Then the next chapter is about how a widower, now that he is no longer interested in Grihastha Dharma, he has to take up Sannyasa Dharma. The Ashrama Dharma has to be properly taken care of. So all this seems to indicate that the society of the time of Narasimha Purana perhaps had these problems. In the society, you see that there are people who are married but not taking care of each other, who are unmarried, not ready to get into Grihastha Dharma, who are widowed or widowered and they are not ready to take up Sannyasa Ashrama. And they are probably siblings who are interested in having a relationship with each other physically. So here we see that in the form of a katha, the Acharya, whoever has given this Narasimha Purana, is trying to address those issues in a very subtle way. Of course, there is even a Phalashruti associated with each chapter. If you read the Purana, you will see there are Phalashrutis involved. They are often Adhyatmika in nature, but in my opinion, these are more associated with the ethical aspects of the society. They are trying to hold together the societal threads together. So this was probably in a way to ensure that if people had doubts about their own responsibilities and relationships, if they heard all of this, they might be inspired to do what is supposed to be done. With that, we will close today's session. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Abhinavji, it's purely a blessing for us, every session when you come, and especially today, it was awesome, much needed for that. And unfortunately, we couldn't read all these stories properly. Our Itihasas and Puranas have given so much social messages, but still our education system, I don't know, we couldn't read all this properly. And if somebody says all these stories, we are able to understand so well. And definitely, thank you so much. It was such a wonderful session today. Everyone should hear this session. That is what I feel. Thank you so much. Dhanyavadaha Mahodaya. Devi Durga Divya Shakti Asti. Durga Shivasya Mayura Rupena Pujitavan. Kumari Swetha will be singing Durga Pancharatnam. Swagatam, Swetha.
ध्यानयोगानुगता पश्यन् त्वामेव देवी स्वगुणैः निगूढा ते ध्यानयोगानुगता पश्यन् त्वामेव देवी स्वगुणैः निगूढा त्वमेव शक्तिः परमेश्वरस्य मां पाहि सर्वेश्वरी मोक्षदात्री देवात्मशक्तिः श्रुतिवाक्यगीता महर्षि लोकस्य पुरः प्रसन्ना उहापरं व्योम सतः प्रतिष्ठा मां पाहि सर्वेश्वरी मोक्षदात्री परास्य शक्तिः विविधैव श्रूयसे श्वेताश्ववाक्योदितदेवी दुर्गे परास्य शक्तिः विविधैव श्रूयसे श्वेताश्ववाक्योदितदेवी दुर्गे स्वाभाविकी ज्ञानबलक्रियाते मां पाहि सर्वेश्वरी मोक्षदात्री देवात्मशब्देन शिवात्मभूता यत्कूर्मवायव्य वचो विवृत्या त्वं पाशविच्छेदकरी प्रसिद्धा मां पाहि सर्वेश्वरी मोक्षदात्री त्वं ब्रह्मपुच्छा विविधा मयूरी राम प्रतिष्ठासि उपदिष्ट गीता ज्ञानस्वरूपात्मतयाखिलानां मां पाहि सर्वेश्वरी मोक्षदात्री मां पाहि सर्वेश्वरी मोक्षदात्री.
Wow,
Thank
that
you.
was fantastic. Beautiful composition by Jagadguru Paramacharya. Wonderful, Shweta. Wonderful. Mesmerizing, really. Thank you, Kanna. Romba nalla irundhathu. Azhaga paadina. Thank you so much. Samskrita Vani proudly welcomes Srimati Mahalakshmi Mata to present speech on different Gitas in Hinduism and overview. Mahalakshmi Mata is a retired central government employee. She is an BA English and MA Sanskrit graduate, learned initially from Samskrita Bharati and pursued PG in REVP Tirupati, conducted many Sanskrit Sambhashana Shibirani classes, had conducted many sessions of Sandhya Kala Vidyalaya. After retirement, conducting classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, Sundarakandam, Narayaniyam, Vishnu Sahasranamam and Lalita Sahasranamam. Now learning Tiruppugal and Abhirami Andadi. Interested in classical music. Swagatam Mata.
नमस्कारः. सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. अज्ञाततिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. यस्य स्मरणमात्रेण ज्ञानमुत्पद्यते स्वयं स एव सर्वसम्पत्तिः तस्मात् सपूजयेत् गुरुम्. स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् चराचरं त्वत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. नमस्कारः.
Mata, you can switch on your video.
Different Gitas in Hinduism. Gita means, we all know, it is very famously, everybody knows. That the first thing that comes to our mind is Bhagavad Gita.
Mata, excuse me.
It is a timeless.
Mata, நீங்க உங்க வீடியோ ஆன் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. உங்களுக்கு தெரியல எங்களுக்கு.
பண்ணிருக்கேனே. வீடியோ தெரியலையா? வீடியோ done. Now I am see now. I have done.
வீடியோ வரல. Okay,
பண்ணிருக்கேனேமா.
continue பண்ணு.
தெரியுதா?
இல்ல வரல எங்களுக்கு வீடியோ வரல.
It is video, my video is on.
But எங்களுக்கு வரல.
Should
சரி,
I
okay, continue பண்ணுங்க. Anyhow.
Should
Okay,
I fully go out and again come?
No. It's okay, you can continue.
Okay. When we think of Gita, the Bhagavad Gita is often that comes in our mind first. We all know that is a timeless conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. But there are so many Gitas. It is usually, a Gita means a song or hymn, or it's usually a dialogue or a conversation between a guru, preceptor, or a Jivan Mukta and a Sishya, or an earnest seeker. Sometimes the song will be in the form of advice, or it is in many places, it is usually filled with many questions and answers. Gitas are very important in Hinduism because it is ripe with spiritual knowledge. Now, there are the main source of Gita are different Gitas are from epics, Puranas, Upapuranas, and other Hindu scriptures. The most famous among them we know is that is Bhagavad Gita. But before we go to the Gitas, different Gitas in Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavata Puranam and other Puranam, why I mentioned so many Dhyana shlokas like Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. At the first instance itself, I would like to mention the Guru Vandanam, this what I chanted just now. That itself takes place in the Skanda Purana, Guru Gita, Skanda Purana called Guru Gita. It is the conversation between Shiva and Parvati. There are 18 Puranas, we know, Ashtadasha Puraneshu Vyasasya Vachanadvayam. There are 18 Puranas. One of the biggest Puranas is Skanda Purana, containing more than 80,000 shlokas. This Guru Gita takes place in Skanda Purana, and it's a conversation. It has got 352 verses. It's a conversation between Shiva Parvati. Shiva Parvatyoho Samvadaha. Parvati is asking Shiva, Bhagavan Swadharm Sarvadharmajna Vratana Vrata Nayakam. Bruhi me Krupaya Shambho Guru Mahatmyam Uttamam. She is asking about the greatness of Guru. Kindly tell me the greatness of Guru, Mahatmyam of Guru. So, in reply, Shiva starts answering so many verses. There are 352 verses, out of which just one or two that, for example, and the very meaning of Guru, Gu and Ru, what that means. That is said in this, that comes in Guru Gita. That also I'll try to mention one or two shlokas. Gukaro cha andakaro, ye rukaras teja uchyate. Ajnana grasakam brahma gurureva na samshayaha. The Guru, in that word Guru Padam, Guru, the Gukara, the Gu, letter Gu is the darkness, and the Rukara is called the light. There is no doubt that the absolute truth is a spiritual master who devours ignorance. Gukaro bhavadrogaha syat, rukaras tan nirodhakrit. Bhavaroga hartyascha guru rityar abhidiyate. Gukara is the disease of birth and death. That is a cycle. Our samsara sagar is a birth and death. It's a disease. Rukaro is the inhibitor of it. It is also called the spiritual master because it recovers the disease of material existence. Gukarascha gunatito rukarakaha rupadito cha gurkaraha gunari rupa vihitnatvat guru rityabhidhiyate. The gukara is transcendental to the modes and rukara is transcendental to the form. It has gone beyond that. That means because Guru is devoid of modes of nature and form, he is called the spiritual master. Gukaro pratama varnaha maya di guna bhasakaha rukarosti param brahma maya bhranti vimochana. The first letter Gukara reflects the qualities of illusion. The syllable Rukara is the supreme absolute truth which liberates from the illusion of life. So, Evam, nearly 382 verses, I think, 352 verses. Likewise, he keeps on describing about the Mahatmyam of Guru, and there it comes some from 50 to 45 to some 78 shlokas. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, the Guru Vandana eva tatra asti. That takes place. So I just wanted to, the purpose, two purposes are solved. Our topic is also covered here, and my Guru Vandana, it is also said in the form of Guru Vandana. So I first took it, and then going back to other Gitas from Mahabharata. First, we all know the very famous Gita that I told you that comes in our mind is Bhagavad Gita, and it takes place in Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata, when Bhishma, after his fall, then when Arjuna is very much confused state of mind, to keep up the dharma, we know that Krishna advises Arjuna, and this is being summarized by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. It starts thus way. We all know that, so I don't think that needs more. And Mahodaya every week he keeps continuing. Very, very nice to hear. Ji. Apart from that, we will go to after this Mahabharata war, and all this. There are so many parvas. I told you this Gita takes place in Bhishma Parva, but there are 18 parvas in Mahabharata, and different Gitas occupy place. This is in different parvas. Mostly from Shanti Parva. This Shanti Parva is Ashwamedhaka Parva and Shanti Parva. The largest is Shanti Parva. It has got 365 chapters and 14,000 shlokas. And it has got 3 sections: Raja Dharma Parva, Apada Dharma Parva, and Moksha Dharma Parva. And many of the Gitas take place in Moksha Dharma Parva of Shanti Parva. So, this background of Shanti Parva, if I have to say, then it will take some time. Yudhishthira is very much in a dejected state of mind after the coronation ceremony. And the 5 Pandavas went to see Lord Krishna, and who in turn took them to Bhishmacharya, who was lying in the bed of arrows, still alive, of course. And when Bhishmacharya saluted Krishna and took away the pain and made his mind peaceful, by the direction of Lord Krishna, Yudhishthira is asking many questions to Bhishmacharya, and he gave so many philosophical answers to each question of Yudhishthira. Each one of his answers is very profound and traditionally considered as Gita. That is why there are so many Gitas in Shanti Parva. Majority of them are dialogue between Rishi and Bhishmacharya gives replies, answers with the incidents of other episodes or other experiences of other persons Paranyana. Like that. So, the majority of them are dialogues between what the reply given by Bhishmacharya to Yudhishthira is, majority of them is the conversation between Rishi and the king, like that. Mostly that is Yudhishthira and some Rishi, like that. So, first we will go to Ashtavakra Gita, and then we will come to another Anu Gita and other. This Ashtavakra Gita actually takes place in Vana Parva. There are 18 Parvas, I said. Vana Parva, one of them is Vana Parva. Vana Parva is the time that they are in exile, Ajnatavasa. So, there the sage Ashtavakrama explains to King Janaka that is being reproduced to Yudhishthira. So, the Ashtavakra explains to King Janaka about the nature of soul and self-realization. Emphasis is on renunciation, that is sannyasa. Ashtavakra iti vakraha iti vadamah chek Ashtavakra Gita. It is actually a very classical Advaita Vedantam on the nature of self or Atman, that is reality. This Gita is actually a conversation between sage Ashtavakra and King Janaka in Mithila. Ashtavakra sage is actually son of Kahoda. It's a very big story, like Mahabharata means we not there. Grandson of Aruni, a very revered sage, and he refers to his physical deformity and birth. Ashtavakra, he will get 8 kona, like deformations in the body, because while in his mother's womb he will be cursed by his own father. His father is a very great sage, of course, Kahoda, and Vedic scholar, Vedic Pandit. But when he was chanting Veda, this Ashtavakra, from the mother womb of his mother, he found fault with the chanting of his father. So father got annoyed and cursed him. That is how he got this Ashtavakra, 8 the sorts of deformities and the crookedness in the body. This is very much essential to stress that it is a crookedness in the body, because every time he was insulted or criticized by anybody in the he will say the body, the size of the, as the size of the temple is not affected, as how it is shaped, and the shape of his own body does not affect himself or Atman. Only the ignorant man's vision is shrouded by names and forms, but a wise man sees only this self. That is how he starts saying so many philosophical statements and Veda. And there are 20 chapters in Ashtavakra Gita. This is being pointed out by Bhishma to Yudhishthira in many occasions. So, one of the main important Gita, other than Bhagavad Gita, one of the different Gitas in Mahabharata is Ashtavakra Gita. The cause of bondage that we are still resorting to is stilling the mind. That is why he used to say, Nissangro Nishkriyo Sitvam Swaprakasho Niranjanaha Ayameva te Bandha Samadhi Manutishthasi. That is Samadhi Manutishthati. You are really unbound and actionless, self-illumination and spotless already. The cause of your bondage is that you are still resorting to stilling the mind. That is the main. So that is how the Ashtavakra Gita goes. And the next Gita we will come to is Anugita. Anugita is again conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna actually, while taking a stroll with Krishna, he says that, Krishna, you said so many advices you gave me in the war. At the same time, at the time of war, I have forgotten everything. I am very sorry to say that I forgot everything. Can you kindly tell me again? So that is how the Anugita goes. But Krishna will say, you heard the secret of Bhakti Yoga and was instructed by me about the eternal self that is distinct from the body. That forms a subject of Jnana Yoga. But the nature of work that is subject to makes a Karma Yoga and all the imperishable injections of the Shastra. Abudhva yatna grinhin yas tanme sumahad priyam noonam ashraddhadanosi durmadaschasi pandava. Krishna says there, it is to my great displeasure that I am now hearing this word from you, that you are not grasping due to not possessing the determination to pursue. That is the reason you have forgotten. You say that you have forgotten. Therefore, due to lack of determination, you are indeed now devoid of firm conviction in the truth. That is why you have forgotten. That is why otherwise you would have remembered and you won't dare ask me that. And certainly a perverse intellect. That is how the Anugita and Gita, again Krishna, however, he has asked out of interest and he has accepted that he is forgotten. That may not be what Krishna says, but he has accepted his fault, and that is how the conversation goes. And the almost a reproduction of Bhagavad Gita, but in many places, and it has got 36 chapters and 1,000, more than 7,400 shlokas, like 700 shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, 1,400 shlokas, but it all concise now, and it has been brought to some 400 shlokas are there available. The repetitions are not that available or something. So Arjuna will try to convince Krishna. Krishna knows everything. He is Lord, no, but he wants to get everything from the out of the mouth of Arjuna and make it understand to others. This is being summarized by Vaishambhayana. Vaishambhayana hears the conversation of Arjuna and Krishna, and he explains this to his disciple Janamejaya. That is Anugita. So, and in that Gita also there are debates found in the text contains 36 chapters. I told you it is there also. Krishna, in their conversation, it is the discussion between husband and wife on the nature of human body, rebirth, and emancipation that will appear. It's all I told you, as I told you, many incidences, examples, or many dialogues or others experiences that come, and that is being summarized by in the later as the philosophical thoughts out come emanated out of that. So and again a dialogue between Adviryu and an ascetic of animal sacrifice. That the proper sacrifice is not ritualistic, but it is internal, of concentration of mind for the time of knowledge. A dialogue between a student and teacher also about highest truth. These things take place in the Anugita, that forms the 1,400 slokas. That is how it develops. So Anugita is best quality, and the duties of it states the quality, best qualities, and the duties of good and joy, pleasure, nobility, enlightenment, happiness, everything. Also the absence of stinginess, absence of fear, absence of contentment, faith, forgiveness, courage, harmlessness, equability, like so on and so forth. So many. Devoid of the notion that this or that is mine. Devoid of egoism, devoid of expectation, and equable everywhere, not full of desires. To be such is eternal duty for the good. That is how it projects. Anugita projects these elements. It is significant because the original ideas and ethical point of views are cited by scholars of different schools of Hindu philosophy. And even Adi Shankara, such early 8th century, Adi Shankara is also described, and 15th canto of Vijna Bhikshu. It is generally delivered by scholars and be like much later addition to Mahabharata. And the teachings between the two texts are quite different in their detail and philosophical foundations. So Anugita, it is how that is Anugita and Ashtavakra Gita we have just mentioned. And then we'll come to, again, I'll come to Uttara Gita, because it is also a part of Mahabharata and considered a supplement to Bhagavad Gita also. After ruling the kingdom for so many years, comes in Mahabharata. After ruling the kingdom for many years, in the old age, Arjuna approaches Lord Krishna and requested to advise Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya Jijnasa. Jnasa is Jnatum Icha Jnasa, that he wants to know about Brahma Vidya. Lord Krishna advised many yogic practices, and the collection is called Uttara Gita. So this is also a dialogue, a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. So these three Gitas, main Bhagavad Gita and the Anu Gita and the Uttara Gita, three Gitas, they are totally, they are conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. They are called Krishna Gita. So these three Gita. And then we'll Ashtavakara Gita, and then Bhikshu Gita, we'll go to Bhikshu Gita, Baka Gita, Bhishma Gita. There are so many other Gitas that we'll see now. Baka Gita, it is a conversation between sage Baka and Lord Indra. It is about dharma and renunciation. It is a conversation between sage Baka. It is about dharma and renunciation described in Mahabharata. In this Gita, the sages described sorrowful condition. It is sorrowful condition of the world which a person has to see and face if he lives for a very long time. This actually Panchapandavas, Markandeya, Rishim Prichadi. That's all. This summary when Panchapandavas approach Markandeya Rishi and ask, he is giving the idea, is explaining the facts of this experience. What a person has to, how a person has to suffer when he has to live for a long time. And Bhishma, and next Gita is Bhishma Gita. I have to start saying the shlokas, it will take some time. Etadichami Bhagavan Bhaka Shakra Samagamam Sukha Dukkha Samayuktam Tatvena Kathayasvame. That is what Pandavas Markandeya Pradipachari. Kindu, if I start saying the shlokas, it will take some time, and I'll try to skip them as far as possible and go fast, because very vast subject. And Bhishma Gita, next is Bhishma Gita. This Gita has all 3 times sung in praise of Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana, and Lord Mahadeva by Bhishmacharya. This is in Anushasanika Parva. Anushasanika Parva, we know the Vishnu Sahasranamam takes place in Anushasanika Parva when Yudhishthira asks Bhishma Charya about which dharmam. We know the Vishnu Sahasranamam takes place in Anushasanika Parva. So here also it's a hymn to Mahadeva in section 14 and 17 of Anushasanika Parva, and Mahavishnu in 114 in section 149 of Anushasanika Parva, and Narayana 65 to 68 Bhishma Parva. Okay. So also so many other shlokas are there, but I am skipping due to paucity of time. And other next Gita is Bodhya Gita. This also comes in Shanti Parva. I told you earlier that Shanti Parva, that's one of the biggest Parva. Subsection of in the Moksha Dharma, that is a subsection of Shanti Parva. There are 3 sections was told. So subsection of Moksha Dharma Parva of Mahabharata is a dialogue between sage Bodhya and King Yayati. It is a very small, just 10 verses only. And the sage states many gurus as guru. Pingala Puraraha Sarpaha Saranganveshanam Vani Ishakaraha Kumari Che Shadete Guravo Mama. The Rishi saying, first Guru, he gives the message of giving up the wish for worldly pleasure. The second guru is osprey, Garuda. That is, it is like Garuda, fish-eating bird. When chased by other birds, the bird, the Garuda or osprey, that realizes that only by dropping the fish, it becomes free. So when you only drop your desires and your all what all you are acquired, like out of veracity and only you leave the desire for that, then you can be free. Otherwise, it is very difficult to keep that and to preserve that, and everybody will be behind you, will driving you to catch that away from you. So you will be in the very obsession that how to save it, how to protect it, and then due to the desire over it. So just leave the desire, like how the Garuda, the osprey, but when chased by other birds, it realizes by dropping the fish, it becomes very free. So it gives a message that not possessing an object of pleasure which others try to seize and carry away. That is how Bodhi Gita is like so many and other Ishakaraha, single-mindedness, how we very focused mind. Like that, very many other, only 10 verses are there, small Gita only. Still, it gives immense, it's a very high meaning. And then Brahmana Gita, it comes in Ashwamedha Parva. It is conversation between learned Brahmin and his wife about ways to escape from the bondage of Maya. So there are nearly 20 Gitas in Mahabharata alone. Totally there are above 60 Gitas. 20 Gitas in Mahabharata and 20 from Bhagavad Purana and other Puranas and other Ramayana. There are so many. So in total, there are 60 Gitas on the higher side, I should say. Next, from Mahabharata itself, Harita Gita, it is also in Shanti Parva. Teachings of sage Harita on Sannyasa Dharma. Bhishmacharya recites Gita as one of the answers to the answer to one of the questions of Yudhishthira. And then Kama Gita. It is very short Gita with 11 verses. It comes in Ashwamedha Parva of Mahabharata. It is a dialogue between Lord Krishna and Yudhishthira on the importance of suppression of desires and the ways to deal with how desire should be dealt with. And next is Manki Gita. Manki Gita, it also takes occupies a place in Shanti Parva, subsection of Moksha Dharma Parva. It is the story of sage Manki on his enlightenment, which Bhishmacharya recites to one of the questions of King Yudhishthira. Sankhya thought of philosophy. It is leads to read with metaphysical knowledge and explanation. Sankhya thought of philosophy means Sankhya, Prakriti, Purushaha. Sankhya Yoga in Bhagavad Gita is slightly different. It is Sankhya thought of Kapila Devasya. Kapila Deva Eva Stapitava. So here Sankhya thought of philosophy. Mostly it leads to with metaphysical knowledge and explanation. That is space, time, and then for reasoning for everything. This is metaphysical knowledge. Thinking of the reason why it is happening, why if everything is one, then what is other, like it goes that in that philosophical line. This universe is without the introduction to God. The Manki Gita consists of 50 verses. It begins with the story of two bullock belonging to a sage. The spiritual aspirant is a Muni, is a monkey. Monkey, his name is Monkey, it is not monkey, M-A-N-K-I, monkey. The spiritual aspirant tries to tie two bullocks to a yoke with the purpose of training them so that he could acquire more money by utilizing them for his Jeevanartham, agricultural purpose. Unfortunately, the bullocks hit a camel and that was lying on the field, and everything, his bullock got hurt, everything he lost. So the as an unexpected loss brought him, this Muni, to a state of enlightenment. That is how it starts, this Manki Gita. It then this Sankhya leads to Sankhya thought of philosophy, like that I've told earlier. And then next is Nahusha Gita. Nahusha Gita is it is a dialogue between Yudhishthira and Nahusha in the form of serpent. Nahusha is a Chandramsha, the daughter. He marries son of Aiyer, the eldest son of Pururavas. Nahusha is eldest son of Pururavas and Prabha. Prabha is a daughter of Sorbhanu, who is called Raghu now. We call Raghu, no? Sorbhanu. But this Nahusha made his order of Swarga during Indra's absence. Indra was against Vritrasura. He had gone to for Yuddham with Vritrasura. Nakusha wished for Indra's wife, Sachidevi, and he made Sapta Rishis to convey his palanquin forward mansion of Indra's wife for seducing her and asking them to bring her, telling them Sarpa Sarpa. That means, which means Sarpa means move, to move on. The sage Agastya is interesting. There are 7 Sapta Rishis. No, one of the Rishis Agastya. Sage Agastya, very furious in his disrespect given by Nakusha, he curses him to become a Sarpa. That is how he becomes serpent. The Nakusha is that is the reason. It is a conversation between serpent and Dharma, Yudhishthira. So his previous story is that he fell down from the sky and then remained on the earth until he met Yudhishthira in the Dwapara Yuga, when Pandavas exiled after losing their game. So it comes in Vanaparva. When it is in exile, it must be in Vanaparva. So Nakusha Gita, that takes place in Vanaparva. So when Pandavas exile after losing their dice game, Nahusha captures Bhishma and decides to eat him because he's serpent, no. Despite Bhishma's extraordinary strength, Nahusha is too powerful, as he had received a boon earlier. While falling from Agastya, that taken by him strong, being very superior to him, shall immediately lose their strength. That is how Bhima lost his strength with Nakusha when he was caught by him. Because we all know Bhima is very powerful, but Nakusha caught him due to the boon he had acquired earlier. Meanwhile, Yudhishthira was looking for Bhishma. He found him and saw that it was happening to him. Nakusha then reveals himself to Yudhishthira, and it tells all this curses, all his stories. And Yudhishthira and Nahusha discuss with each other on their views of Dharma. Nahusha then tells all his mistakes and asks him to learn from that. Learn from what the mistakes I did. You learn from them. Don't repeat the mistakes, because these are all the difficulties undergone by me. Like how the Gita goes. And then Nahusha is relieved from his cause and goes to heaven. Bhima regains his strength. At the time of getting curse itself, he will be said that when Pandavas meet you, your curse will go. So his curse will be relieved of his curse and then gets its original form. There, one of the shlokas he says, but in Gita, that Satyam damastapo yogaha yogam ahimsa dana nityaya sadhakani sada pumsa na jatir na kulam nrupa. O king Yudhishthira, he is called Yudhishthira and says, O king, neither caste nor lineage is always the means of attaining perfection. Truthfulness, restraint, austerity, yoga, non-violence, and constant charity are the ways of that lead to liberation. All human pursuits for their ends. So, he goes that way. And next Gita is Parashara Gita. Parashara Gita is comes in Shanti Parva of Mahabharata. It is, as said earlier, many Gitas that comes in Shanti Parva. That is one of the biggest Parvas of all the 18. 14,000 shlokas with many chapters. So it is dialogue between Rishi Parasharaha. Parasharaha is the father of Veda Vyasa. Parasarya Vacha Saroja Mamalam. We chant. Parasaryaha means Vyasaha. Parasarasya Putraha. So Vyasasya Pita, Vyasa, father of Vyasaha. And King Janaka. Bhishmacharya recites this Gita, which is about good values, to a question asked by King Yudhishthira. And then Pandava Gita. Now not going deep into the shlokas of Parashara Gita. Of course, I have noted some shlokas, but it is very lengthy. It will go. Then goes Pandava Gita. Pandava Gita is a hymn dedicated to Lord Krishna. It has got 76 verses. This Gita is about Sharanagati Tattva. Many people, including Pandavas, 5 Pandavas, Pancha Pandava, Draupadi, Kunti, Narada, Bhishma, Dronacharya, etc., tell about their Saranagati to Lord Krishna and how they were protected by Lord Krishna at each occasion. This Gita is also known as Prapanna Gita. Dhyanam, we chant in the start of Bhagavatam also, as Guru Dhyanam. Prahlada, Narada, Parashara, Pundarika, Vyasa, Ambarisha, Shukha, Shaunaka, Bhishma, Kavya, Rukmangada, Arjuna, Vashishta, Vibhishanadhyaha, Etan Aham Parama Bhagavatam Namami. Even just in the initial beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam chanting also, it is chanted. And then Yudhishthira Dhyanam, Kunti Dhyanam, Uddhava Dhyanam. So many people, they praise Lord Krishna and as a Prapanna, Sharanagati, Prapanna.
Excuse me.
And Pingala Gita, as said earlier, the Bodhi Gita, he says some 6 Pingala, and then that bird, Garuda, and then Ajagaraha.
Excuse me, madam. Mata, we are running out of
That
time.
is
Time ஆயிருக்கு நீங்க கொஞ்சம் சீக்கிரம் முடிச்சீங்கன்னா we was already crossed 8:30.
That is why I am very much I am not going into deep. Then there are so many other Gitas, Sampaka Gitas, then Sanat Sujata Gita, that is also all in Mahabharata, Shaunaka Gita, Vamadeva Gita, Shadja Gita, Uthya Gita, and Vichaknu Gita, Vidura Gita. Vidura Gita is very, very important. That it is also called Vidura Niti. It is in Udyoga Parva of Mahabharata. Udyoga Parva is that after their exile, they come to for compromise with they'll try to compromise with Dhritarashtra and with so to avoid war. That time Dhritarashtra will be very much very much worried. Say the next day, what Yudhishthira will come and talk to him about what he will be talked with. What Yudhishthira will come and talk to him, because Yudhishthira was to come and talk to him the next day. So Vidura Gita it goes. So he calls for Vidura and then asks his advice. Then Vidura says gives so many advices, which is called Vidura Gita. Actually, it is also called Vidura Niti. So it has 500 verses. This Gita is advised by Vidura. And on dharma, Raja dharma, dharma, individual dharma, and social morality, politics, and the art of governing to King Dhritarashtra. And then Vritra Gita. And this is how Vritra Yudhishthira Vyadha Gita. Vyadha Gita is very important in Vanaparva of Mahabharata. Markandeya says to Yudhishthira and Vanavasa during the Vanavasa and Pandava.
Madam,
It is a story
kindly,
of
yeah,
Vyadha
we are
Gita.
running. Mata,
And
please, முடிச்சிடுங்க நீங்க டைம் ஆயிடுது.
And there are other Gitas, Srimad Bhagavatam also, very important Gitas. Uddhava Gita is very important. Uddhava Gita comes in 11th Skanda, Srimad Bhagavata Purana. In Puranas, we know so many Gitas. It is very important in Srimad Bhagavatam. 11th Skandam, Uddhava Gita, that occupies very important. From 6th canto to 6th chapter to canto 11, 6th chapter to 29 chapters it takes place. And then Nimi Yoga 11th chapter, Nimi Navayogi Gita, that is Jayanteya Gita, very important. It is between Nimi Chakravarti and Navayogi. It all talks about the dharma, moksha, dharma and moksha. So there are some are deep in philosophy. These Gitas, they are some are deep in very philosophy, some are deep in divine. Allow some are deep in execution of bhakti. They are all, however it is, they are all very helpful for our inspiration and enlightenment. Due to paucity of time, and it's a big, vast subject, I am now compelled to, forced to stop and let me conclude with this, that whatever in the name of Gita, it's all it leads to teaching of dharma and marga, the moksha dharma, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Out of this, dharma and moksha is very much stressed in all this Gita. They are all very much useful, helpful for our inspiration and enlightenment and today's life also. It is very, very important, and it shows us, leads us to lead a very philosophical, very balanced life. That is very much important. This is what these Gitas speak. There are so many other Gitas, Bhumi Gita and from Puranas, Skanda Purana, I told you, Agastya Gita and then Brahma Gita. There are so many Gitas in Puranas also. You have many, and Ramayana, Rama Gita is very important. After Lakshmana, the instruction of Rama leaves Sita to the hermit of Valmiki. And then he is very much depressed and asking Lakshmana. So Rama explains Lakshmana. These are all very difficulties. Life is full of difficulties, and that you have to, only if you undergo these difficulties, we will get experiences which leads us to Viveka Jnana. That is Jnanena Mukti. Like that, he explains so many other aspects and many other incidents also, stories also. Sometimes, though
Mata, we can have another session, Mata, because time is more important. Yeah, wait pannirukka ellarum. We can have one more session. We can continue. It's okay. No issues, Mata. Kindly conclude.
Okay, I have already said it all. So same the only. I told you earlier, that's how we go Ramayanam also, we have Gitas and other. Okay, thank you anyhow.
Okay, thank you. Mathangi, you can continue.
Really a great opportunity, Mata, for us to know more about Gitas and wonderful. ரொம்ப 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 நல்லா இருந்தது. செல்ஃப் ரியலைசேஷன் அப்படிங்கிற ஒண்ணுதான் எல்லாமே சொல்றதுன்னு நான் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறேன். இட் வாஸ் எக்ஸலன்ட் செஷன். இன்னொரு சந்தர்ப்பத்துல நீங்க இன்னும் நிறைய வந்து பேசணும். தேங்க்யூ சோ மச் மாதா. தன்யவாதா. இட் வாஸ் வெரி நைஸ். தேங்க்யூ சோ மச். धन्यवाद विज्ञापन प्रस्तुत करेंगे श्रीमती गीता माता, प्रोफेशनली क्वालिफाइड होम्योपैथी डॉक्टर, had given speech on women's welfare, health and hygiene, self-confidence, self-improvement in All India Radio. She has wide knowledge in all fields. Swagatam Mata.
शुभशन्त्या सर्वेभ्यः मम विनयशील नमस्कारः। अस्मिन् अगस्ट् समूहस्य धन्यवादं कर्तुं हर्ष अस्ति। प्रार्थनाय प्रस्तावनाय कुमारी श्वेता वेङ्कट अस्य धन्यवादः। मम भगिन्याः मातङ्गी तथा विशाली वर्यः क्रमशः उत्तम एङ्करिङ्ग् कृते स्वागतभाषणार्थं च धन्यवादं ददामि। सुभाषिताय श्री रामकृष्ण महोदयस्य धन्यवादं ददामि। श्लोक जपाय अपि कुमारी श्वेता वेङ्कट को धन्यवादं ददामि। अस्य अद्भुतस्य गीता व्याख्यानस्य कृते अहं डॉक्टर सुश्रुताय धन्यवादं ददामि। नरसिंह पुराणार्थं अभिनव कडाम्बी महोदयस्य धन्यवादः। अद्य दिन विशिष्ट वक्तारः भगिनी महालक्ष्मी कृते धन्यवादं ददामि। अद्य आसीत् तस्य भाषणम्। शांति मंत्र प्रस्तुति शिवकुमार महोदयस्य धन्यवादं ददामि। अद्य दिनस्य कार्यक्रमे ये सम्मिलिताः तेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः अपि धन्यवादं ददामि। सर्वेभ्यः पुनरपि नमस्कारः।
धन्यवादः गीता माता. Thank you so much. स्वागतम शिवकुमार जी for शांति मंत्र.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। नमस्कारः।
धन्यवादः। वयम् अद्य कार्यक्रमस्य समाप्तिं कुर्मः। शुभरात्रि।
शुभरात्रि।